So we are going to evaluate this limit today, and the limit is limit as x approaches 0 sine pi x over 2x. So we can see that the expression involves sine and normally and x is approaching 0. So whenever sine is involved and the variable is approaching 0, we think of applying this limit of sine x over x when x is approaching 0, and that limit is equal to 1. But here we have a problem. We can't apply this limit because here we don't have the same denominator as the argument of sine. The argument of sine is pi x, but in the denominator we have 2x. For this limit to be applied, the argument of sine and the denominator, which is x in this case, must be same. So we need to divide this numerator by pi x so that this limit can be used. So sine pi x over pi x, we divide the numerator by pi x. Obviously, if we want to divide the numerator by pi x, we also need to multiply it so that there is no overall effect. So we are multiplying and dividing by pi x in the numerator, and obviously this limit is being applied to a fraction. So using the property of limits, we can distribute that limit on both the numerator and the denominator. So I've done that, applied the limit on both the numerator and denominator separately. In the numerator we have a product, so there is another limit property of limits which states that if you have a product, you can apply the limit on both of those terms separately. So I have applied the limit separately on both the terms which were in the product. So limit of x approaches 0 pi x into limit of x approaches 0 sine pi x over pi x divided by the limit of 2x when x approaches 0. So this limit is equal to 1 because now we have the argument of sine which is equal to the denominator and x is approaching 0. So this is equal to 1. So limit x approaches 0 pi x into 1 divided by limit of 2x as x approaches 0. So we have a fraction and there are two limits involved. One is being applied to the numerator and one is being applied to the denominator. So we can combine these two limits and write it in the form of a single limit. So this will become limit of x approaches 0 pi x over 2x, and this x and this x gets cancelled. So there is no x left for us to put the value equal to 0. So the limit is just pi over 2.